received a call. Through the tears, I could barely make out her words. I'm cramping and bleeding. I think I'm losing the baby. She was 6 weeks along, and surely things were just moving around. Surely this was just part of the process, I thought to myself. When we had found out that we were pregnant, we told our parents, but decided to wait 10 weeks prior to letting everyone else know. At the time, I knew that we were waiting to tell others in case something happened, because I had only known 3 individuals who had had a miscarriage, and I thought we were just being overly cautious. Monday morning, found my wife and I at the doctor's office receiving heartbreaking news. The doctor confirmed we had lost the baby. She told us that we are not alone. 20% of all pregnancies end in miscarriage. I was taken aback. 1 in 5 pregnancies. Over the next several days, my wife and I struggled to deal with our loss. Since we had only told our parents that we were pregnant, it was difficult to bring it up with friends and family. On the few occasions that I did bring it up to others, I often came away feeling worse with their uneducated response. Eventually, I decided the best thing to do was to research the issue so that I may educate others around me. Upon starting my research, I discovered 2 things. 1, miscarriage statistics are not well published, and 2, the sources themselves vary greatly. The general consensus is that 20% of pregnancies end in miscarriage. However, I found this misleading. Several sources claim that up to 75% of all pregnancies end in miscarriage in the first 2 weeks, most of the time before the mother even knows she's pregnant. The chance of miscarriage then drops to 10% in weeks 3 through 6 and 5% in weeks 7 through 12. During the second trimester, it drops to 3%. After the second trimester, it's no longer considered a miscarriage. After getting a handle on the statistics, the next logical step was to determine what causes miscarriages. Surely there was something we could have done differently. As the research began, the first thing I had to do was recognize the myths. Though they may contradict with what your mother or grandmother may have told you, the following activities do not cause miscarriage: stress, sex, lifting of children or other heavy items, working out, getting hit in the stomach, poor eating habits, drinking alcohol before you knew you were pregnant, or scaring the baby. While many of these activities may cause complications later in the pregnancy, there is no direct correlation that has been found to lengthen the miscarriage. In fact, I found that very little information that would lead me to believe that miscarriage is caused by anything at all that the mother could have done. What I ended up finding is that over half of all miscarriages are caused by chromosomal factors that are out of our hands. The majority of others are attributed to poorly formed placenta or umbilical cords, a hormone problem, or other health conditions the mother was completely unaware of. The consensus of my sources agree that it is not your fault, and there is absolutely nothing you could have done to prevent the miscarriage. Miscarriages are an uncomfortable subject in our society, and therefore are often kept quiet. In addition to being uneducated on the subject, most individuals are caught off guard when you tell them that you've had a miscarriage. After all, they didn't even know you were expecting. They generally say the first thing that comes to mind, which oftentimes makes things worse. Through my research, I found sources that listed several of the most common responses. I was astonished to find 6 of the responses that my wife and I frequently heard on that list. Many people say, well, this is probably just a blessing in disguise. I'm sorry, but I lost a child and I just don't see it as a blessing. At least you weren't father alone. Well, I believe that there was a baby no matter how big or how small it was. This was God's will. I'm a Christian and I believe in God's will, but I'm glad you understand understand what his will is, because I don't quite understand that just yet. Then you have the folks that tell you how many miscarriages their friends have. We had one, my cousin had 4 miscarriages before she had her first child. Well, I'm very sorry for your cousin, but the thought of going through this ever again is just not that encouraging for me. You can always have another one. Yes, but I still lost this one, and one child can never replace another. And this one blew me away. Well, at least you know you can get pregnant. I was so dumbfounded when my wife's friend made this comment, I didn't even know how to respond. You just walk away. Please know that all the individual needs is for someone to be there for them. Simply tell them that you're sorry for their loss, and they're there if you need to talk to them. The statistics are eye-opening. The causes are out of our control. And how we choose to deal with the experience both personally and through others. I hope that I've enhanced your understanding and that you will help others to escape the silence.